Experience Bozarth, the axe-wielding heroine of 1779. The crack of a rifle pierces the morning mist. A 50-year-old man stands alone against a battle-hardened warriors, his empty gun still warm in his calloused hands. Behind him his children flee across the open field before him. A dead warrior lies sprawled beside a sapling, while another advances with a razor-sharp tomahawk, raised high, its edge glinting in the morning sun. Before we dive into today's gripping tales of courage and survival from the Pennsylvania frontier, make sure to subscribe to Native Legends and History Stories. Hit that notification bell to never miss. Our weekly episodes bring you the raw, unfiltered stories that shaped America's earliest days. As the American Revolution rages in 1779, the settlers of western Pennsylvania's Westmoreland County wage their own desperate battles for survival. On the sprawling wilderness, where dense forests meet the winding Monongahela River, 50-year-old David Morgan has carved out a life amidst constant danger. A kinsman of the renowned Colonel Morgan of the Rifle Battalion, David's weathered hands and sharp eyes speak of decades spent defending his family against frontier raids. With attacks intensifying, Morgan moves his family to a fortified settlement 20 miles north of the province line. Thick wooden walls rise from the eastern bank of the Monongahela, offering shelter to dozens of frontier families. But even here, survival demands risk. Fields must be tended, crops harvested, livestock fed. This spring morning, Morgan watches his younger children disappear down the worn trail toward their plantation, 1 mile from the fort's protective walls. Their hoes and shovels bounce against their shoulders as they walk, morning dew soaking their leather boots. The distance seems small, but in these dangerous times, every step beyond the walls could lead to death. Morgan's restless fingers check his rifle's priming as he follows his children. The weapon's familiar weight settles against his shoulder as he scans the tree line. He reaches the field where his children now work the soil, their backs bent to the morning's labor. The thud of their tools and shuffle of feet in fresh earth fill the air. Settling onto a rough-hewn fence post, Morgan divides his attention between his working children and the dark forest beyond. His eyes catch every movement: a deer's white tail, a rabbit's sudden dash, the wind stirring branches. Then he sees them. 2 warriors materializing from the shadows, bodies painted for war, moccasins silent on the forest floor. Their muscled arms grip weapons as they glide between trees, heading straight for his unsuspecting children. Morgan's warning cry splits the air like a thunderclap. His children drop their tools mid-swing, spinning toward the sound. They've drilled for this moment countless times. Run, don't look back. Head for the fort. Their feet pound the freshly tilled earth as they flee. The warriors change course instantly, their painted faces turning toward Morgan. At 60 winters, Morgan knows his legs can't outrun their swift feet. His only chance lies in the rifle, gripped in his calloused hands. In a move born of desperate cunning, he charges forward for purchase toward his attackers. His boots dig into soft earth as he covers the distance in powerful strides, then throws himself behind a massive oak tree. His unexpected advance forces the warriors to scramble for cover. They dive behind saplings, barely thick enough to shield their bodies. Morgan's rifle steadies against rough bark. Years of hunting have taught him to shoot fast and true. The rifle's report drowns all other sound. His first attacker crumples, chest exploding in a spray of red, dead before his knees hit dirt. But now, death approaches in the form of the second warrior, younger and faster, weapon primed and ready. Morgan's rifle hangs useless, empty of powder and shot. The warrior's bullet screams past, close enough to stir Morgan's gray hair. With no time to reload, Morgan swings his rifle like a club, its wooden stock now his only defense. They circle each other in the small clearing, boots and moccasins crushing spring flowers. The warrior's face shows no emotion, but his dark eyes never leave Morgan's weapon. Decades of frontier life have hardened Morgan's muscles. But will that be enough against the warrior's youth and speed? The next heartbeat could bring either victory or death. The warrior's tomahawk flashes through morning air as Morgan swings his clubbed rifle. Steel meets wood with a thunderous crack that echoes across the clearing. Splinters explode outward like deadly shrapnel as the rifle's lock shatters into useless fragments. Morgan's left hand explodes in searing pain, his little finger completely severed, spinning away into the undergrowth, the next one hanging by a mere thread of skin and sinew. The warm trickle of blood runs down his wrist, but survival leaves no time for pain. The warrior launches forward, using the momentum of his tomahawk throw. His muscled shoulder drives into Morgan's chest with the force of a battering ram. Both men crash to the ground, the impact driving air from their lungs in explosive grunts. Pine needles and dead leaves scatter from beneath them as they hit the forest floor with bone-jarring force. Morgan's decades of frontier experience take over. He tucks his chin, rolls with the impact, and manages to come out on top. His knees pin the warrior's arms as his greater weight bears down. Victory seems within reach as he raises his fist for a crushing blow. But the warrior is far from finished. Years of combat training fuel his counterattack. His hips buck with explosive power. His legs scissor upward, catching Morgan in the small of his back. The world spins as Morgan finds himself airborne. He crashes onto his back, head snapping against packed earth. Stars explode behind his eyes before he can recover. The warrior's weight slams onto his chest. Strong thighs clamp around his ribs, squeezing precious air from his lungs. The warrior's hands snake toward the knife at his waist, fingers eager for the killing blade. The triumphant war cry pierces the forest like a physical force. Birds explode from nearby branches in terrified flight. The sound promises death, promises another scalp to hang from the warrior's belt. But fate has other plans. The warrior's questing fingers tangle in unexpected fabric, a woman's apron, stolen from a nearby homestead and hastily knotted above his weapon. The simple cloth becomes an unlikely savior, buying precious seconds as the warrior fights to free his blade. Morgan sees his chance. Desperation lends strength to exhausted muscles. His right hand shoots out, fingers closing like an iron trap around the warrior's knife hand. In the same instant, his head snaps upward. Teeth clamp down on the warrior's finger with savage force. The metallic taste of blood floods his mouth as he grinds down harder, feeling bones splinter and crack between his jaws. The warrior's scream of triumph transforms into a howl of agony that echoes through the trees. The battle becomes a grotesque dance. Morgan maintains his bite grip, teeth sunk to the gums in mangled flesh. His free hand grapples with the warrior's other arm, trying to control the knife hand. The warrior thrashes like a wounded animal, trying to pull away, but Morgan's bite holds firm. Blood streams down both men's faces, Morgan's from his earlier wounds, the warrior's from his crushed and mangled finger. Through it all, Morgan watches with predator's focus as the warrior's free hand finally reaches his knife. The awkward angle forces a compromised grip near the blade. Morgan's hand shoots out, fingers wrapping around the handle's base, just as the warrior yanks the weapon from its sheath. The blade slices deep across the warrior's palm as it comes free, opening his hand to the bone. Fresh blood sprays across both men's chests. They struggle to their feet, still locked in their deadly embrace. The forest floor is churned to mud beneath them, stained red with mingled blood. Every time the warrior tries to pull away, Morgan bears down harder with his teeth, maintaining his grip on the mangled finger. The warrior's strength begins to fade as blood loss takes its toll. Morgan sees his chance. With practiced skill, he maneuvers the captured knife toward his opponent's side. The first thrust strikes rib bone, barely penetrating flesh. The impact jars Morgan's wounded hand, sending fresh waves of agony up his arm. He adjusts his aim lower, seeking the soft flesh beneath the ribs where vital organs lie vulnerable. The second strike slides home with sickening ease. Morgan feels resistance give way as the blade plunges deep into the warrior's gut. He twists the knife upward, tearing a massive wound through soft tissue. Hot blood gushes over his hand as he rips the blade free, bringing bits of organ with it. The warrior's eyes go wide with shock and understanding. Death has found him on this spring morning. Morgan finally releases his teeth grip and stumbles backward. The taste of the warrior's blood fills his mouth as he spits out shreds of mangled flesh. His own blood paints a crimson trail across 100 yards of open ground as he runs toward the fort's safety. Behind him, the mortally wounded warrior crawls, like a broken animal, into the shelter of a fallen tree, leaving a wide swath of gore in his wake. Hours later, when a search party from the fort arrives, they find a scene of carnage. The first warrior lies where Morgan's bullet found him, eyes still open in eternal surprise. The second warrior, now cold in death, rests against the fallen tree. His final moments are written in the evidence. Around him, the knife extracted from his gut, spilled corn from his pierced stomach pouch, scattered like golden tears, the stolen apron, pressed in futile desperation against his fatal wound. The dying warrior's last words to the search party carry a bitter irony. How do, brother? How do, brother? But on the blood-soaked Pennsylvania frontier, there's no brotherhood between settlers and raiders. The warriors' bodies are stripped, scalped, and skinned with methodical efficiency. Their hides destined to become drumheads in a final transformation from enemies to trophies of war. 20 days later, another letter would reach Philadelphia, carrying news of an even more remarkable encounter. Just southwest of Morgan's battle site, near the winding waters of Dunkard Creek, a woman named Experience Bozarth was about to carve her own bloody chapter in frontier history. Experience Bozarth's cabin perches beside Dunkard Creek's twisting waters in southwestern Pennsylvania. Her homestead, usually home to just her own family, now shelters to additional frontier households who have sought protection in their shared defensive position. The March morning dawns cold as children's voices ring out from the yard. Their games, a momentary escape from the constant threat of attack. Their play ends in terror as they burst through the cabin door, faces frozen in fear. Indians. The warning hangs in the air for one heartbeat. Before violence erupts, a man steps toward the entrance. Gunfire shatters the morning quiet. The musket ball punches through his torso, throwing him backward across the cabin floor. Crimson stains spread across roughwood as he crashes down. A painted warrior surges through the entrance, weapon poised to strike. The cabin's remaining man hurls himself forward, colliding with the intruder in a desperate grapple. Their impact sends them sprawling across a nearby bed, the frame groaning beneath their struggle. The settler manages to gain the upper position, straddling his opponent, a knife. The cry rings out, "Get me a knife." Experience Bozarth spots a quicker answer. Sunlight glints off the axe's blade where it rests within reach. Her hand finds the worn handle. Years of frontier labor have prepared her for this moment. The weapon rises smoothly, her arms strengthened by countless days of wilderness work. The axe descends with lethal accuracy. Steel meets skull with a sickening crunch. The warrior's head splits apart, painting bed linens with blood and brain matter. His body goes instantly slack, lifeless eyes fixed on nothing but survival. Allows no pause to consider the killing. Another warrior fills the doorway, his rifle already at his shoulder. Smoke and thunder fill the confined space. The man on the bed convulses as lead tears through his heart. A final gasp escapes his lips as he collapses across his dead opponent. Experience pivots toward this new threat, axe already in motion. The warrior attempts to parry with his spent weapon, but the axe's power proves irresistible. The blade carves deep into his abdomen, shearing through clothing, skin, and muscle alike. She yanks the weapon free and strikes repeatedly. Each blow opens his body further until internal organs spill forth in bloody coils. His tortured cry, "Murder!"